back. Another installment.
Can't get rid of us.
Can't do it. I guess not. We're here with my old training partner. Very old training partner.
Very old. Wow. Wow.
The Tim Bresnan.
How's everybody doing?
I don't know. We'll find out. I wrote on my Facebook earlier when I shared the link that Josh put up for the show tonight that tune in to hear an hour of Tim smashing me just straight.
Why would you say that, John?
Because you like to pick on me.
Listen, I was the one that stopped Christian Benny from dropping you off on the side of the road.
That's true.
So we defended you. Yeah. Christian wanted to leave you. I don't even remember where he wanted to leave you. He wanted to make sure we got your money, put it for the gas, and then leave you at some truck stop.
Somewhere in Jersey.
Yes. No, I don't think it was further.
It could have been, yeah. On the way to South Carolina.
That was a beautiful thing. That was a good trip. That was a great trip.
Yeah, that was a fun trip. That was my first nationals.
Yeah, you did well. You didn't do too bad.
I won.
Did you win? I didn't know if you placed it. I knew you did well.
It was the novice class.
That don't matter.
Yeah.
Don't matter. You weren't in that long by then.
No, only a few months.
Yeah, that was good.
I was like, oh, all the teammates are going. I might as well go too, and I ended up winning it.
How's that? That feed looks a little bit slow up there in New Hampshire. You kind of like blurry when you move.
Yeah.
Or it's just that he's moving too much.
Probably. I always move too much.
He's not in New Hampshire.
Where is he?
Close enough.
Mackie Two Shits.
Where?
Massachusetts.
I thought he was a New Hampshire guy.
No.
Nope. Boston, Mass.
Oh, masshole. Oh, my God. No wonder.
It's already
No
happening.
wonder. Now it all comes together.
No wonder. It's like, are you left-handed too?
No.
Okay. Well, that's something better anyways.
So, Tim, you just got back from Canada.
Yeah, we the rainstorms last. I would have got back last night, but the rain was so bad we couldn't. It was not like driving main roads to get up to Nova Scotia.
You just got back today?
Yeah, well, we would have got back last night, but we stopped in the wine country. Much my wife likes to do. Goes to the wineries.
No, I didn't
I
know.
get stuff to get drunk. She got to be drunk to live with me sometimes.
Well, that's just,
She likes to go to wine. We used to do that. Well, Mark Zalepa used to have his tournaments.
Yeah.
We used to do the same thing. Come down through Niagara, go to all the wineries. We did 2 or 3 of the big wineries, and then by the time we got down towards the United States and into the United States and Maine, it was just raining so hard. I just said, the hell with it. We pulled over, stayed somewhere up there.
Cool. I figured you'd fly. You flew, but you just drove up?
No. The whole point of the trip was for the wife, really. Yeah. They gave her a little vacation. Not a bad trip. No. It's just a long way. They didn't know ferry. The ferry doesn't start running until July, so it was an extra 5 hours. We had to drive all the way around.
It's always a good trip for you, though.
Always. Yeah, I don't drive.
It was So how'd you feel Saturday pulling?
Not too bad. It was a good show. They had the provincials. I was a little disappointed that the tournament was before because I usually pull a tournament after, but then I found out it was provincials anyway, so we couldn't. I couldn't have pulled it anyways. But good show. I'd never pulled Len Hout before.
Yeah.
He's quick, very fast.
Fast and a really good post.
I'll tell you the truth. In the first match, I right before the go, I kind of loosened up a little bit to try to move it, slow it to the middle. Mm-hmm. And when I loosened up, he said go. And luckily, I don't know if Len didn't know what I was doing, and he missed the go. It would not have been pretty. He would have caught me way off guard. I'd have been scrambling.
Yeah, he's got a pretty decent sized hand too, right?
Oh, big.
Yeah.
Big hand.
Yeah.
He grabs kind of low and straight across. Like he kind of dumps his wrist. I was watching him pull the other guys. It's kind of a straight across, hard, straight hit.
Yeah, it's like a little bit like he's not quite as tall as Blaine Middleton, but it's that similar move.
Very, very much.
Dipping your hand down, side pressure with that post. Yeah.
And like I said, I was very glad that he missed the go, especially since I was loosening up as he went.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Tim. Now that you've had a couple months since pulling Alexei, and you pulled a bunch of other guys around, how do you think Alexei's power level compares to other people that you pull regularly in North America?
He's very strong. I don't know why anybody would think he's not. He's I had gotten contacted from Pete Milano. He had talked about me and Alexei being pretty close in style and strength. So Pete had me working side. He came back after 8 years to work a little side pressure with us. And it's a good thing. It's a very good thing he did it because I've never hit at on the go. It just stops in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
It always goes one way or the other, and that one just stopped. And I was like, damn. I said, Pete was right. And then I just eased into the hook and straight across.
Yeah. Do you think that there's other guys in the United States? I mean, I think that Alexei was not ready for you, clearly. I mean, John and I were saying that beforehand, and I'm glad we were both proven right about it. Ha, 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 unlike everybody else. But do you think anybody else in North America, other than, say, Chafee and Cataret, would give him a good shot?
There's people that would probably give him a decent poem. There's probably a few others. But I mean, like I said, he was strong. He was in the top roll. He was hard to move. I mean, I couldn't even. As you watched, I had to ease into that hook from a lower position. I couldn't even curl his hand in from up top. So you got a very long arm on top of. So maybe someone with a longer arm could have done better in that play. But I'm sure there's other people that can give him a go.
I noticed in that first match when you guys slipped, but you stalled out right in the middle of the table for just like a split second.
Yep.
And when you slipped the grip, you like let out this. It was like a roar because I felt like at that moment you knew he wasn't stronger. Is that true?
It's exactly true. I knew it wasn't going to be. He wasn't just going to drill me. It didn't move, and I was pretty happy that we had, like I said, that we had worked the top. We'd worked the side pressure because I knew that's where it was going after that. He had a real hard, real post, hard forward post. That's the way he was hitting. He was hitting forward and up, so it was tough. It was tough to try to get through him.
I think you got into his head quite a bit because when he was upset about that, what he thought was an elbow foul, even though it's pretty clear in the video that it wasn't, he really couldn't let it go for a while. I was wondering if he was just walking around trying to come up with some kind of other way to get around you because it seemed like he was upset a lot longer than is normal for him.
Well, I was at that point, if you ask John, I was pretty happy about the length of time that he was upset about that because my forearm was blown up like a rock. Yeah. I kept telling him, check the other view, check the other view, check the other view.
Yeah, I was thinking, I know your endurance, in my opinion, was better than his that day, but I'm like, yeah, just keep going. The minutes keep going by. It's going to be a fresh Tim.
Well, seriously, with the amount of pressure on that strap, of course your hand goes numb, your forearm blew up. So, I mean, it was just the longer he went, the better off it was for me. Yeah. So, like I said, I was real happy at that point,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy just to see, it was kind of cool to see Alexei struggle for the first time in over a decade of, like he had a long time off from arm wrestling, obviously, but in his mind, I mean, your mind goes back to the last time he pulled. And the last time he pulled, he hadn't struggled for years against anybody.
I think he was eating meat the last time, though. I don't think he was a vegetarian the last time.
I forgot about all those jokes back then.
Yeah. Those are some mean. Those vegans are some mean people.
They get a little upset.
Oh, they do. I didn't realize his film crew was all vegan, right? So they're interviewing me. They find out I got a farm, and all of a sudden they had like this attitude when they're asking me questions. I'm like, damn. But it was fun.
Well, then they asked you what you think your best strategy against Alexei was, and you said eating steak. You did do that, though.
I might have. Well, I told the guy when I first met the guy at the check-in that I hope we had a good editing crew. And that was the producer, and he asked me why. I told him it was going to be tough to edit 6 rounds. And then I apologized to him at the end and said, yeah, it's only 5 rounds, so you're all set now. But I don't think he knew what to say when I walked up. That just made me, how you doing, Mr. President? And I was like, yeah, that's what I had, So I don't think he was real happy with me at that point.
Well,
all right, I got a Jamie Sheldon says hi, first of all, and he has a couple questions for you since we're talking about Alexei. He says, was he stronger or weaker than you thought he would be? And now that the hype is over, who is next? And obviously we know your next person is Sileyev. I don't really know much about him. I don't know if you do, John, or if you've seen a lot of video of him. But anyway, he wants to know, was Alexei stronger or weaker, and how do you feel about the next match?
Alexei was probably just like I thought he was going to be. Like I said, it surprisingly, like I said, glad I trained for the straight side pressure hook, because I don't know, I'm not sure if I could have moved him on the top rope because his arm was so long. I had to change up because I couldn't turn him anyway because he was so much higher than I was. He's extremely strong. Like I said, I mean, I don't show much emotion when I pull, and it's exactly for that reason. People tend to get a little upset, and then they get upset with themselves and they do stupid things. Those guys taught me that a long time ago. No emotion, don't show anything. And even a guy that can beat you thinks he's losing when you don't make faces and grunt and scream and. So I mean, it works. It's worked for me for a few years. Suliev, he finished in fourth place at Nemiroff this past year.
Okay.
Me and him never got to pull because I pulled like crap. He had messaged me, said he wanted to pull me. So when I was asked, I threw his name in there. We'll see. Young puller. He just won Russian Nationals, I believe, both hands.
Yeah,
at least left. I know that. I know for sure left.
Yeah,
Did he win both?
I don't know. He's a good puller. He's going to be really good. He's very young.
Very, very young. He likes to play games in the starts. He's going to be tough to set up with for the referees. I mean,
You don't care.
I don't care. I don't care how. I just grab hold. So I mean, but it's going to be tough for the referees. It's not going to be, it's not going to be an easy setup for them.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see it. I think you got a real streak going on, Tim, and it's like, I said this to a couple of people that we interviewed so far, and also to John, that people I think have underestimated you over the last, because you went through the injury and the sickness and stuff, and I think people sort of wrote you off, and now you've got this streak of victories over very highly respected people, and so everybody's like, wow, what can this guy do now? So I'm curious, man. I hope they I don't know what's gonna happen with Pushkar and Trubin, but I'd love to see you get the winner of that match.
I asked for Trubin to begin with. I really want to pull Trubin. I think I can do something with him.
Do you want a little bit of revenge on him from Nemiroff?
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
I mean, he caught me a little off guard. I didn't think he was gonna be that fast. And when he's got all that weight on top of my arm that low, it's pretty tough to get by that. Like I said, I do really, really want to pull him. I think I got something for him.
So Peter Mills, he just wrote in and said he wants to know if you think you can beat Suliev without John Brown in your ear.
What do you mean without John Brown in my ear? John Brown's not going to be in my ear? I think he might be. I think you might have to just come out here and, come see it. It's only Rhode Island.
Yeah, maybe.
You could probably drive it in a couple of hours.
He also says he wants to see you start pulling left-handed.
That'll never happen. I started to pull left-handed a few years back when I tore my bicep, and my friend Ron Klemba put an end to that.
You're a good friend.
He tweaked a ligament in my wrist, and it just that was 6 or 7 months. That hurt, and I haven't been able to get back into left-handed. I got a lot of that let-off pain. Lots of it. So I really don't even bother with it. I don't even really work out my left arm when I lift anymore. It's all right-handed.
Are you insinuating that our good friend Ron Klemba might have injured anybody?
Oh my God, no! Not on purpose,
No,
but
of course not.
that man hits so damn fast from 10 different directions. He's tough. He's a great training partner because he gets you ready for almost anybody.
I credit him and Corey, your son, for why nobody hurts my arm anymore from hitting me.
Oh my God, Corey hits like a ton of bricks.
Painful.
Hard and fast.
Yeah, you would not know it by looking at him, but that kid is fast.
Well,
Yeah, he is really fast.
to make you all, if anybody that pulls him a little happy, he's got an injury on his right hand right now, so he won't be out pulling for a while.
What do you do?
That's too bad.
He's got nerve damage in his forearm. They're thinking from this machine he uses at work, takes the windshields out. Left-handed though. He still got his left hand. If I get him back to the gym, get him pulling again.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
You know, I like when he comes with us pulling. Makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Makes the referee's day.
Yeah, some of the I'll tell you, some of the best trips we ever had were with Corey along.
Oh God, yeah, yes. I mean, come on. Him and Ron cheat the same ways. Seriously, if you're a referee, him and Ron Clemmer cheat exactly the same way. But Ron makes him smile and laugh, and Corey irritates him.
Yeah, that is
I keep
true.
telling him, so you gotta make them smile so they like you when you're cheating. Like Clemmer, he gets away with murder because he makes them laugh.
Yeah.
You know.
I just know when I watch Corey pull, a lot of times he'll pull some kind of crazy move, and the refs just sit there and look at each other for a second, try to figure out what just happened.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to call right now?
I've seen that kid in a deep hook on the wrong side of the table flop and end up on his side of the table. It's like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, he can do that. He could flop almost straight across.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's crazy. He's a lot more flexible than I am.
Yeah, I was just about to say you guys have completely different styles.
Oh, he take more of his style from Ron Clemmer, really, the speed and the. You couldn't have got a glass. You couldn't have got a.
No.
You couldn't have got the big mug.
All right, here's another question for you, Tim, from Alex Pay, who's the amateur. He's just starting out. He said, what do you do to break through a plateau to reach a higher level of strength?
Training. You got to figure out what your plateau is, and find a way around what you can't beat. You know what I mean? I have a very small hand,
Yep.
so it's short. So I made it thicker. So that was my way around these guys with these big long hands. They can't get a good grip on me because my hand's really thick. So every time, like the year I went to Worlds, I went up to Canada. I was undefeated the whole year except by Travis. I go up to Canada and get my ass handed to me by everybody right down to the novice. Dead load. They had no idea. So what I do, I learn how to dead load. You know, I mean, there's always a way around what you can't do. You know, don't ever say I can't because there's always a way that you can. You know.
Training at disadvantage too.
Yeah, train at a disadvantage. I mean, how many times you go into practice and these guys are all hooked in and pulling, and you tell them it ain't helping. No, it's helping me when they do that. You know, you can only tell them so many times, and I'll take advantage of the big guy that wants to start in a hook or wherever he's comfortable. This helps me out. You know.
Yeah, you definitely taught me a lot about training to the disadvantage. And,
Oh God.
And really, what it comes down to, in my opinion, is almost just you train good 80% of it just defensive.
Yes.
Trying to figure out how to let someone start exactly where they want to start, and then somehow bring them to the exact opposite place they wanted to be.
Oh, think about it, John. If you start in the middle of the table, and the referee says go, you're both at an even. You're both even.
Right.
So if you're practicing this at a disadvantage, like wearing ankle weights or wrist weights, why do you do that? Because when you take them off, it's easier.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
like we always used to do ready goes at the end of practice.
Yep.
And half of that was so we didn't get hurt because we were already beat up. But
Yep.
the other half of it for me was every time I went to a tournament or every time I did ready goes in my brain, I was dead tired.
Yep.
And then you go to a tournament and you feel great, and then they say ready go, and you're just like,
Yep.
just please say go. I'm
Yep.
so ready. I feel great right now.
Yeah. I don't care how he grabs me. Let it go. I don't care. Let it go. Yeah, it's definitely.
Well, that was something that I was there for when you really switched your style up.
Which one's that? I've
In
done
your-
it so many times.
In your grip,
Oh God, yeah.
which was not capping anymore.
That was so hard.
Yeah, I remember when you went through that and you said, "Listen, my hand's too small. Like this
Yep.
is not working. I gotta do this." And I remember for like 6 months you were like, "Listen, every time I grab a hold of you, make sure I grab below."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the first time in the tournament, I went to national championship. The first time I did it for the tournament was at a nationals. So we did trial by fire. You know, it's not like I'm pulling these little. I was afraid to do it before that, and I just said, "The hell with it. I'm gonna do it. Win or lose, I'm gonna uncap." And it was
What
worse
happened?
for me.
Did you win?
Of course.
That's good.
I think that was that might have been New York. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got them talking
Yeah.
like Canadians now, eh?
Take it out, ready go.
Yeah, take it. Oh yeah, we had Rick Picnic. Take it out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, RVJ has been after me, and also Oren of doing the same thing, not capping. And my hand is bigger, But I don't know. I haven't had the guts yet to try in a tournament, but I might try it out in Atlantic City this weekend. See what
Well, I'll
happens.
tell you what, I practice it. I practice top rolling from a very low grip for probably better than 6 months. And it's not easy when you first start. But with the way I showed a couple of my guys how to go uncapped. You don't just grab and put your thumb down. You push up on your thumb. So
Right.
you almost get you when you grab, you put your hand up under your thumb and kind of
Right.
push up on your thumb. So you're almost like clapping, except you're still underneath. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
basically
do.
it's the same height as capping, but you get an extra finger basically on the back. Of
Right.
You get maybe you have extra inch and a half
Right.
of grip, I think, and it's easier to stop a top roller if you can control his hand. So if you got three fingers, you got all four fingers on his hand, he can't top roll.
Yeah, and it really plays it makes people really uncomfortable these days, where everybody's always into height, hand height, hand height, hand height, and when you really just bring it back to, I'm just going to grab a hold of you and control the match, it makes people really uncomfortable, and also making a fair grip makes people really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, you think about it though. When you grab somebody and you're grabbing them with your hand straight across, low hand, they're really confident.
Right.
And the more confident they are in the beginning, it changes really fast after the go. And all of a sudden they're underneath you and you're not where they were before. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been known to put a couple people there.
Oh yeah. Well, the more comfortable they are, the less on guard they are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't fight for a grip. They don't.
Right.
Oh my God, he's grabbed me so low. I feel so good. I'm like, okay.
No,
It changes quickly.
no load, soft hand.
Oh yeah, very solid. Yeah.
You know, I know
No,
all about soft hands, Tim.
John has very soft hands. John has very soft hands. Very. He does. They're I can't even say it. I don't want to say it on live TV, but they
No,
feel
you should,
very,
Tim. You
they feel
should,
very
because
nice.
the last few weeks he's been saying how sad he is that nobody makes fun of him on his new team that he practices with. And
Anybody
he misses
ever.
Dungeon Arms for that reason.
What good is it when you don't get funny somebody, man? You got to be fun. But his hands, Christ, they cause reactions when they start rubbing. When he starts rubbing on your hand, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. There he goes.
On my show. I get
on
treated
I
like
thought this was
on-
Josh's show too. Our show. Is it our show?
Somebody just, Corey up in New Hampshire just posted, how many times has John Brown beat you fair and square during training?
You can go ahead, Tim.
He has beat me.
I beat you on TV. I'm 1-0 against you on TV, Tim.
They're
Was
trying
that
to
big?
get you in
I'm
trouble.
1-0 against you on TV.
Did you?
Yeah.
When?
When we were at practice with that King of
Oh
the
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah, oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. The 47 other guys. pulled me. Yeah, that was a good win. That was a good one. That was definitely a good one. But it was on TV. They didn't show the other 47
Of
pulling.
course,
No.
of course not.
Well,
It
I'm
was,
sure
yeah.
John probably paid him off.
I paid Tim
We've
off.
we've since fired him from PAL, so don't worry about it. He's no longer- we got new cameramen now.
You were in good shape in that for that too. You were-
Oh, it was
that was
fantastic.
for Prudnick.
That was Yeah, that was for Prudnick. That was
Yeah.
before Prudnick. But I was in at least that good a shape because I was supposed to pull Vavoda at the same time when I pulled Krasimir.
Right.
I was fantastic. I'm feeling pretty good now. I think I laid off a little too much before I went up to Nova Scotia. I gotta get a little harder on this next training session.
Well, you got a good couple months until you
Yeah.
have to do it again.
Yeah.
And I think too, like with I know last year when you hit Zloty and you hit all those tournaments back to back to back, and you really didn't. You were very disappointed in how you performed. I think it's gonna be harder now with you with after your illness.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
it definitely is. Definitely is.
And I think the layoff that you just said, maybe I took a little too long. I think it's going to be really good for you in July.
It could be.
You know?
It definitely could be.
Because
I mean, I didn't work out as hard as I usually do before I went up to New Hampshire. You know, but I will be. Trust me, I will be in fine shape in July.
It looks like to me, just from seeing pictures, that you're looking a little leaner. But you told me you weigh about the same.
Oh no, I'm over 300 now.
Yeah, but you look good though. I mean, you don't look like in the past you've said, you've gotten bigger, but you've gotten puffy. Like it's not really
Yeah.
worthwhile. Your endurance isn't that good, but you look like you're lean too.
Well, I think losing all that weight and then putting the weight back on, and I'm putting the weight back on more in muscle than in anything else.
Right.
I'm diabetic. So after I was sick, they went from being borderline diabetic to being, full blown diabetic. I'm on insulin now, so it's easier to control my weight with the insulin.
Yeah.
It before I wasn't getting any nutrition, so I was losing all this weight, and I was eating more than 4 people. Now I eat less than half of what I was, and I'm gaining weight when I lift. I'm losing weight when I don't lift, and when I lift really hard before the shows, I'm putting 10, 12 pounds on.
Sure.
So it's good.
Yeah, it's important to eat and then actually absorb it.
Oh yes, it does. When you're putting it in the toilet, it ain't doing much good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost when I was sick. I went down to 250 pounds.
I
in 2
remember.
weeks.
I remember very well.
That's crazy.
Because you were supposed to.
That was bad.
You were actually supposed to come out and ref, I think, the WAL Chicago.
I was supposed to
years
come out and
ago.
ref Chicago, and I went into the hospital the week before. I think it was.
Yeah, because you were. I want to say you were in the hospital before that, but you had gotten out, right?
I went in on my birthday. They kept me for a little over a week. I was out for 3.5 days, and I actually had to be my nurse came to take care. I had a PICC line on my arm. The nurse came to the house and she looked at me, and I wouldn't get out of bed. She told my wife to bring me back to the hospital. They were going to call an ambulance, but how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I had Corey put me in the car, so we went back to the hospital. That's when my kidneys failed.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't doing real good.
Yeah, that was a weird trip because I went out there with Ron and Max and those guys, and it did not feel good. It was a really strange trip because it was like Tim's supposed to be here, and we don't really know how Tim's gonna be while we're here. That was a scary time.
No, talking about I've never felt that bad in my life. That was when you don't eat for 3-4 weeks. It's your food's right there. Me not eat. Like, damn, I love eating. I'm kind of glad I didn't go on that trip. I heard you guys had a beautiful hotel and in beautiful downtown Chicago. Yeah, it was that good.
Actually, no, that was the good trip. The one before that was
Oh,
terrible.
was the one before that?
Yeah, that was. Oh, I'm really happy you weren't there too. Someone would have been dead.
Hey,
So bad.
I got to tell you, this whole weekend, I only sent one meal back, John.
That's good.
Yeah, it was only once.
for you.
Because the chicken was so hard, I couldn't even bite into it. There was
Just-
one meal,
Just push it away.
just once. Yep, pushed it away.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about traveling with Tim. A lot of people probably don't know this, but Tim is a little picky with food. And it makes some of the teammates uncomfortable, but it makes me just happy to see it happen.
I didn't know till recently, Ron. It made Ron uncomfortable.
It makes him so uncomfortable. I just love it. I think I like it more that it makes him so uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I'd have known. Well, our trip when we made that last trip to the Arnold's,
Yep.
and Kelly was worse than I was. I actually had somebody that was on my side.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to throw the plate at the waitress. I was great.
Yeah, Kelly Carvara really took this poor woman. But
Poor woman. She screwed up like 18 people's dinners in like 1 minute.
but who was the one who got the right food?
John Brown did. Well, I don't think you did get the right food, did you?
Yeah.
Did you get a steak with blue cheese without blue cheese?
No.
Okay. It was Ron Klember ordered a blue cheese
Yeah.
steak. He said, I got the right food. She said, it was right. I'm like, it was a blue cheese steak without blue cheese. How the hell is that right? Ron's like, no, mine was good. I'm like, all right, whatever. So, I figure if I pay for it, I want it the way I want it to come the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm paying for it.
Understandable. It's understandable.
There was one trip though where it was justified for sure.
Which one? The one where we got served like half an hour apart?
Yeah, and it was in
Breakfast?
that was in Maryland, I think. Yeah,
Yes, it was right after Dave
Dave Morocco.
Dave Morocco's tournament.
Yeah.
You got served. 20 minutes later, Ron got served, and they were still waiting for my food. And I'm like, I had sirloin tips upstairs, so
Yeah, and that's not even the worst part. Tim orders a breakfast with just everything, and they bring out bread instead of toast. It's not even toasted.
yeah. Yeah, so I was like, she's like, you ordered white bread. I'm like, no, I ordered white toast. I was like, that's it. I'm out of here. And I went upstairs and ate my sirloin tips. Ron said to me, he didn't know, why were you so upset? I was like, guy, it was like an hour between my meal and John's meal. We're all sitting at the same table, Like, I asked the girl, I said, me and Ron got the same food.
Yeah.
So I can only do one thing at a time. I'm like, they're boiled eggs, guy. You throw them all in the water, boil them, and take them all out. You know,
Here's some here's some boiled eggs with bread.
with bread. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was something. That was a good tournament. I like that tournament. We were talking about that tournament today.
Were you? Yeah.
Morocco still talks about when I flipped upside down on
on the rings.
the rings and we're doing pull-ups upside down on the rings.
Oh yeah.
330 pounds.
The biggest gymnast you ever
That's
seen in your
impressive.
life. The biggest gymnast you ever saw in your life.
I actually did a pole stand at that one. It hurt like hell. I thought
Your
it-
left
thought it
arm
popped.
hurt.
Yeah.
You were
I thought he
holding your
popped
left-
something.
yeah,
It's
he was like,
oh
"Oh."
God, that hurt so bad. It was after I was refereeing because the ref that they had was questionable.
Little
He's a
suspect.
WAL ref, so he's a good WAL ref. But he was quite, WAL. You don't have to be qualified to ref. You just gotta be breathing.
I was just about to ask you about that anyway, Tim, because I know a couple people have noticed, obviously, that you transitioned from WAL to PAL 2 years ago, and I know a couple people are curious about the reason. I think I know why, but I mean, I think I'd love to hear your rationale of why you've selected PAL over WAL, and what do you think the future of the two leagues is?
Well, what you call transition was I got asked to leave.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I have been pulling for Igor for 5 years. He's flown me overseas every year for 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
He's flown me to Vegas before this last stuff. I'd done 2 or 3 fights for him in Vegas. He's always treated me with the utmost respect. I mean, he's always treated me very good. He flew me out there for a week just to hang out. I mean, so I was like, "Who do you want me to pull?" He's like, "Oh no, just come out and hang out. We want to do some strength tests and hang out and just look at the computer and bullshit."
Yeah.
I'm like, really? You're gonna fly me to Vegas? Puts me in a suite at the Plaza Hotel. Oh, it was unbelievable. And then we get the WAL where you get to pay for your own flight and your own hotel and your own everything. And only now it's only 4 people get paid on each
Yeah,
weight
yeah.
class.
I'm not
They
sure.
change the rules.
Yeah.
They change the rules every time we turn around. The table. They
Yeah.
actually had. Remember when they come and asked us about the elbow pads? Or was you there for that? No, that was New Orleans. They changed to those big 9x8 pads,
Right.
and the producer of the show wanted to make the pin pads the same height as the elbow pads. No, it was after that because I asked him. I said, 5 arm breaks wasn't enough for you? You want
I
more
know.
arm breaks?
Seriously.
Yeah.
I said, your arm doesn't bend like that.
Not that far. Not
And
without
so
a lot of training.
they're letting people that have no clue make a lot of decisions. Besides Devin, those are Devin pads, by the way.
Yeah.
They got his name written underneath them.
Why did they ask you to leave?
Well, so I went down to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
I went down with all intentions just to qualify. I did well. I took 4th. So when we hit New Orleans, all of a sudden there's a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
And I says, well, I can't pull. And they're like, you come all the way down here, you're not going to pull. I says, well, I talked to Igor Mazurenko, and I said, he's got plans. I said, I'm not going to stab the guy in the back. He's treated me very well. He's paid me a lot of money to pull a lot of tournaments. He's the fly to Poland, $1,500, and he's paid my way 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so I can't sign a 2-year contract. I said, I doubt it because I got upcoming things. So I had a meeting with Kaplan, and I told him what was going on, and we talked for an hour, and he said, just write on the contract, what are you going to do? And we'll exempt that. And I'm like, well, fair enough, that's good. So I wrote down on the contract, exactly what we were going to do, the PAL events, and first one he initialed, we signed it, and off we went. So then we went to the one in Vegas, and it was the same thing. So I just wrote the same thing in, exempt from per Steve Kaplan.
Yeah.
And I guess they caught wind after I took 3rd place there. There was the finals. I don't know what the hell they called them. Were the finals, John, or
Yeah.
that was the regionals, right?
Regionals that I went with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the regionals, and I guess they caught wind that the week after the finals, I was going to pull Prutnik for CBS Sports, and I got a call from his secretary saying, or his whatever she is, a letter from her, an email that that was unacceptable, and I said, well, per what? I said, I have contract. And she sent me a picture of the contract, and it was all yellowed out where it said I had 24 months. So I was tied to them for 24 months. And I asked her, I said, did you not look underneath the paragraph underneath that was written in that says I'm exempt for PAL events? And she said I had to talk to Steve about it. And so I had to have Steve call me. So Steve called and told me that he would have never agreed to that. I says, I don't know how you could not agree with. I told you it was vendettas in Vegas. It was written right on the contract, vendetta in Vegas. He said he never would agree to in country, but I mean Vegas I think is still in this country.
Pretty sure.
And so he told me that I had to either pull for them or sever ties. I said, well, I guess I'm gonna have to sever ties. And he asked me again. He said, well, you're gonna have to make a decision. I said, well, I think I just did.
Sounds like you did, yeah.
Yeah, I said, I think I just did. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to sever ties with you. I told you, 6 months ago that I'm going to pull for PAL, and I would love to pull for the WAL, but that's my main goal. And kind of got very short after that, and another minute, he hung up the phone. I emailed his secretary and got a written release because I really don't, after that, didn't have a lot of trust. Right. And that's where it's ended up.
It's too bad that it has to go that way because it could, even if you agreed to disagree in a way where, I'm not going to be along for that ride right now. We don't know what happens in 2 years with all these different organizations.
Exactly.
They could come together. There could be two more organizations that come together.
Yeah.
But when you treat people in a certain way, you're not going to forget that.
It's just I just don't understand. He's tying people up. Well, what better advertisement for your athlete than to put him one-on-one with somebody? You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's not like we're not doing the same thing Steve's doing. We're
Right.
doing totally opposite.
It's a whole different
But
product.
I mean, it's not like it's stepping on his cornflakes. I would think, hey, I got this top athlete and he's pulling in the PAL too, and he just whipped some great athlete from Russia.
Yeah.
I would think that would be great advertisement for. He's in my organization also. He pulls my tournaments.
Right.
But I guess that's not the way he feels, UAL, look what happened to UAL with the same
Yep.
the same views and the same types of contracts. UAL's didn't last very long,
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I actually, you just brought up UAL, and it just made me think of Michael Todd for some reason. I think because you pulled him there.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Trubin do what he did to Michael, does it make you rethink how you would pull Michael next time?
Oh God, no.
No.
No. The reason Trubin had so much success with that is because they kept making Michael stand up.
Is that what
When he hit? Oh yes. Remember when he hit dead center? Leonard kept hitting him on the shoulder. Stand up, stand up. With me, nobody stood him up. I had him an inch from the pad. Nobody was standing him up. If they just stood him up, that last inch would have went real easy. But nobody stood him up for me.
45-second rests in between rounds.
Yeah, was it that long? I don't think it was that long on one of them.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be 5 minutes. We had a contract said it was going to be 5-minute rest periods. Yeah, I had ice on the side waiting for my forearm and everything, and it was get on the other side of the table. We got to finish this off. I'm like, excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was a hard match. That was a hard one.
One of the things that we
watch.
talked about a couple of shows ago was that we all like is the rigid rule format in PAL versus what you alluded to a few minutes ago, Tim, was the WAL rules, which seem to change match by match and certainly are not rigid by any means. And I like the PAL. They have things. They treat everybody the same way. The rules are exactly the same. They call fouls on everybody. The amount of time between matches is standardized. It's very professionally run.
I think so. And to speak back for your WAL changing just in between, how WAL changes rules in between the tables that are standing right next to each other. You could be on one table with Bart. Bart actually, I've got to say, Bart has actually improved immensely on how he follows the rules. Bart has become a very good referee in my book. If they could only get everybody to referee the same as Bart. When you got a referee, I was hanging off of Jerry's arm and being told that I had to stand up. I had Jerry almost pinned, and I'm laid right over on him, and they're screaming at me to stand up. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't have to.
That's
I
right.
don't have to.
I remember that now.
It
Yeah,
was
because they said you were under
Charles
the table.
Fisk.
Yeah, they said you were under the table, and it's like you're on a winning side, though.
Yeah, but I'm arguing. Now, Jerry's 300 some pounds. I'm hanging off his arm, everything I'm worth, and I got to argue with the referee at the same time.
Yeah.
Until Travis finally told me, "Shut up, shut up. You don't have to stand up." You know, Charles apologized to me afterwards. Oh, I'm sorry, I misinterpreted. But that's fine.
That
But
happens.
you know, when they call, I pinned Jerry 3 times and still lost the match. They called me on an elbow foul. They actually took the referee off the table after that because it wasn't an elbow foul. You know, the first one I elbow fouled the first time because Jerry hit me so hard I didn't bite into the table. The second time I rolled up on top of the pad. They called it elbow foul. They actually took that referee off the table. So that's 2 pins. You know, I'm pinning it. How many times you got to pin Big Jerry? You know, and still lose the match. I've never seen Jerry's forearm was black and blue from his elbow to his wrist.
Yes, it was.
That was the ugliest I've ever seen it. You know, and he was like, "Oh my God!" Now, and then he had to pull Dave right afterwards. So we
Yeah.
You had to
kind of
pull
put a damper on that.
Yeah, you had to pull him the next day.
Yeah, I thought he pulled him right
Crazy,
after
man.
that.
Nope,
No, that's
it was
crazy.
the next day.
Oh, that was terrible.
which is almost,
Jerry,
which is worse, really.
yeah. Oh, definitely. That was the ugliest I've ever seen any arm from straps.
Yeah.
It was bad. I was like, there's no way Jerry was going to do anything with
Yeah,
him.
because
Jerry,
he was supposed to pull. I think he was going to pull Pushkar for PAL. Right after that, and he had to decline.
that
Yeah.
was a sore. No, that was before that.
Was it before that?
Oh yeah, that was a sore. That's a sore subject with PAL.
Oh,
Jerry made his decision to pull for the WL.
Yeah,
There's
exactly,
there's
he did.
You know, he made his decision.
Yeah.
And whatever goes, I try to stay out of. Look, I keep my relationship with them, my relationship, and whatever
Right,
happens
right.
with other people. You know, that's
smart.
Whatever.
well, at
smart.
the end of the day, it's arm wrestling, and every like I said, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, it could be whatever different.
It probably will be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Did you see that video with Jerry and Dave pulling at the WL Monster event?
I did. What
What do you think of that? Did you put any weight on that or any significance? Do you think it was just screwing around or what?
I don't know. I don't see Jerry pulling that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've pulled Jerry normally without the flop, and he's got his strengths there, but he's more of that flop's more of his go-to move. I think lately, though, I've been seeing him do a lot of chopping
Yeah.
because those guys, the couple of guys have figured out his flop.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, 2 of the guys at WAL have figured out how to stop the flop, and then Xena and Chafee have long enough arms to do whatever they want. Really, me with my little stubby arm can't do shit. You know, I gotta fight them all the way back. So I think I don't know. I don't know if that's pointing to Jerry's new style, or he looks good. He looks good when he does it, real hard.
I agree. I think as you just pointed out, Dave is definitely can absorb that flop. So I think he feels like in order to beat him, he's got to try something new. And I think he was experimenting, but who knows? Yeah, it did look good. I was impressed.
Very, 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 very. It's scary to see that. You know, like a 300-pound man coming at you with that. That's like Dave Randall.
Yeah,
There's a guy 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
You know, an 18-foot long arm coming at you with a friggin' shoulder roll. It's like, oh my God! I stopped it
a lot
one
of
time.
power.
You know, I stopped it. I've stopped it, but it's not pretty.
Yeah, especially with Dave where it comes down. You know what I mean?
It's straight down.
Yeah, because he's so tall.
Yeah,
He's got that big shoulder
it's
on
like
top
climbing
of
a
it.
tree.
All right, I got a million questions coming here. I got to ask you some of them before these guys start getting mad at me. Herman Stevens, who checked
My
in
boy,
last
Herman.
week, he wants to know, what do you think? What's your favorite win?
My favorite one right now, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's always been John Brzenk. My first national championships when I beat him when I had no idea who he was. That's got to be my best. You know,
That's a good
when
one.
they called me and told me that Pete called me and I told him who I beat and he said, you couldn't have beat him. I'm like, I did. And he's like, no way. I'm like, well, who the hell is he? He's like only the best in the world. I'm like, well, I just beat him. He's like, nah, you did. He had to call somebody else to make sure that I had beaten him. That's got to be. I mean, anytime you could beat John Brzenk, I mean, that's the man. You know, that's the man. And then of course Voda right after.
Yeah, that's the one I expect you to say. I didn't know about that Brzenk one in the Nationals. That's incredible, man. I would
Novice.
remember that forever too. Yeah.
Oh God, I was a novice. That was crazy. I beat him 4 times in one tournament.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I can say what my favorite Tim Bresnan super match was.
Yeah, what's yours?
It was actually one that you didn't win, Tim, but it was a really good one with you and Devin when you went up to Canada to pull him.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that was
that was-
great.
that was a good match.
I thought that was just a phenomenal
That was
match to
a great
watch.
match.
I've watched that about 12 times.
Yeah.
I
You
love
can,
that
can you
match.
imagine being one match away from being number one in the world? Even if I don't,
man.
even if I'd held it for a week, I still would have been ranked number one for in the world at something. One match.
Gave him hell.
God, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was just a fun one to watch.
Oh, that was a great match.
Yeah.
Great match. My
All
elbow
right,
was good.
go ahead. I was going to ask you another question, but if you want to finish your thought,
No, go ahead.
All right, so it's a training question, and it's got a couple parts to it. High volume versus high intensity, and what's the frequency of both of them? And also, outside of arm wrestling, what other general training or exercise are you doing?
Well, normally I lift three times a week,
Yeah.
and I train every Saturday. We train 3 to 4 hours. The closer I get, I go about a month, 3 weeks to a month before my match. I go to 5 days a week of lifting, and I get a little heavier lifting when I start getting towards closer to the show. Always one day. We always pull one. I pull 1 day a week. I'm not like John Brown. I'm not an animal. I can't do that 3-4 times a week. That's why we set him out there. We're hoping he's going to drive back and forth, pull with us a little bit, and them too. But
He probably will.
I would.
and I have my farm. I have my limitations now with my being sick.
Yeah.
I can only go. I can only go like an hour at a time. So I mean, I'm not as active as I want to be. Got to see me with a chainsaw when I start getting dizzy. It's crazy. It looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everybody just runs. They stay away. I'm cutting wood. They stay right away from me. That chainsaw starts flipping around. You got a 24-inch blade on a 70cc motor. They get out of the way.
God. I want a video of that.
God, it's terrible. I told them, just don't get near me. I'm gonna throw it. If it comes down to it, I'm throwing it, and wherever it goes, it goes. I'm not gonna fall on it.
So does that count as recovery work, or do you do anything specific for that?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, so
Throwing
I was
chainsaws?
joking- Yeah, throwing chainsaws. Does that count as recovery? Because I mean, you say you lift 5 days. Is like a couple of those days lighter stuff, or just motional pronation
do.
or whatever?
I do a back and shoulders
Yeah.
heavy. When I'm getting up for the tournament, back and shoulders, and then I do a light bicep, and then the next day, so say Tuesday is strictly arms, biceps, triceps, forearms, and hands, hard and heavy. The next day it's chest. I do chest heavy, and I do a light tricep. Like, just to finish it off, because you're already pretty well burnt out by that time. Your triceps are already pretty well burnt. And then the next day I go back to arms again. And that's 5 days a week, 4 weeks before. So I mean I get pretty thick. That's what I mean, that's really how I gained so much weight, good so much muscle memory. It's the same 12 pounds I'm putting back on that I burnt off.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
most
get some
people do-
controversial questions here. We'll see how
Uh-oh.
much. I'm not asking this one. Forget about it.
Go ahead, ask it. Just ask it.
No, it's like why do you pick on people on Facebook? I might as well just ask you, what do you think about Bernie Sanders? Let's skip to the next one here.
No, wait. I don't. If he's got that all wrong. Now, see if he would read,
Yeah.
if he would read the questions.
Yeah,
And Josh, you can attest to this. I
can attest to it.
I start out very nicely,
that's true.
and then you get some people that get very offended at my opinion, and it's not. I don't call him names, and then when they start in on me, then I was like, if you want to go there, we can go there, and then when Josh will jump in, like, let's get back to the subject. We're calling names. I was like,
I always
we
tell
should have
people.
got to there anyways.
know,
I
yeah.
have my opinion, you have yours. Josh,
Exactly.
me and you have separate opinions. I mean, some of our opinions are the same.
Yeah,
It's just the same way getting there.
yeah,
But I respect your opinion. You've never gotten nasty with me. I don't get nasty with you because I respect your right
Absolutely.
to believe that. But then you
Likewise.
get these other people who, when you get your own opinion, they want to call you stuff like the vegans. I told you they're mean. I had one vegan. Me and Robbie. The only reason I get these vegan posts is because me and Robbie Bigwood are friends. And what these
Yeah.
people don't realize is, I call Robbie on the private messages as I'm busting their balls, and he laughs about it. You know, he knows I'm joking. I'm kind of winding him up. You know, there's I said meat is tasty at one post, and I had these people calling me every name in the book. You can't talk to him. I said, well, all I said was meat was tasty. You know, I kept saying it to him, and then I called my boys up in British Columbia who are absolutely off the wall nuts, and they started sending pictures of bacon and whole cows roasting. Those guys are like off the hook. You know, but they just get nasty, so you get nasty back. You know, I don't know.
It's either
I don't pick on people.
It's either political or like kittens and puppies.
I love kittens and puppies,
I know.
man. That question was asked me this weekend. Does not kittens and puppies make you smile?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Come on,
Absolutely.
you get all this nasty stuff on there. Why kittens and
No,
puppies?
it's needed. It's very much appreciated too. It should be more of that. Here's
should be.
one. Who's your least favorite opponent? Actually,
Jerry
what it says.
Carteret.
Let me tell you specifically what it says because I think this will get a different answer from you.
Oh, okay.
Is there an opponent that you just don't like personally?
Well, that definitely changes that. I like Jerry. I don't like his
Yeah, I know.
style. I hate his style actually. Their opponent I absolutely hate.
You don't have to answer that either. I got other questions. I got like 6 more questions. These people are like
I
flooding
can't
us
say
with-
there's anybody I actually absolutely hate. I've
Now,
never.
see, that's what I expected from you. I think sometimes people, like you said, I think you get a bad rap in some ways. I mean, I was actually going to be surprised if you did have someone because you always seem to, things on the table are things on the table. Sometimes you get mad, but I mean, we all get mad. We all get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Here's a good one. What do you do for pronation, and do you work side pressure specifically?
I do work side pressure specifically. I didn't up until Igor Mezarenko showed me something that I really, once he showed it to me, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize that before. About everybody thinks that bench press and chest has nothing to do with arm wrestling, and it most certainly does. That's where you get all your side pressure from. And
we
he
just-
showed me
we
he
just
showed
talked
me a
about
couple
that with
moves.
Robbie.
What's that, John?
We just talked about that with Vision.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
But everybody, no, I had a guy on Facebook ask me, like, his team tells him, no, don't bother the bench press. And I was like, my God, no, you have to. I usually I do some things on the pec deck. I put my hands in different positions to cause more pressure in my chest instead of just a chest move. It's like a whole arm chest
Yep.
with my hand. Pronation, I don't know.
Train your rotator, Tim.
Yeah, chain my rotator. That's
rotator.
Canadian. They got the rotators down here. Remember? Oh, no, you weren't there for
Roof.
that. That was
It's the roof. Tim.
that was the Grippler. Show me where his rotators down here. I'm like, really? You have a rotator? You have a It's like I had an argument about a guy with muscles in the hand. There is no muscles in your hand. Well, my friend, there is muscles that move the tendons in your hand. So there is muscles absolutely in your hand. They might not be in your hand, but they move your hand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the pronation. I don't know if I train pronation as much. I mean, I do a lot of wrist curls and whatnot, but I don't think it's specifically.
Most people don't know that Tim Bresnan does not even warm up.
No, God, no. Don't warm up. Well, I can't. Don't worry. I can't say that. Everybody should warm up.
Yeah.
Except for me. I feel the stiffer my wrist is, the better I am. If somebody ever
Interesting.
does actually flop me, my wrist is cooked. After that, if they actually get to the point where they flop me over, I get that tired. I mean, my wrist is cooked.
That's
So
interesting.
I want my wrist as stiff as possible. I don't want no one rolling it around in circles and then like that. I absolutely do not warm up.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Does it hurt me? I don't know. But
I don't think so.
In my head, it doesn't.
I think most people have to, and I think if you don't, then you don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts you.
But I'm sure you get the question. Somebody asks you, well, how do I do this? Well, I just had a guy text me message me on Facebook. He says, well, what do I do? I said, well, I can't really say you do this or you do that. I have no idea what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Right.
I said, this is what I do, But, I mean, it's hard to train. I train a guy overseas, but I know he sends me videos. And I've actually got him. He's actually, in the last 6 months, started smoking these guys over there. And he listens, he sends me videos. I said, well, stop doing this and, try this.
Yeah.
And this has probably been the easiest guy to train online that I've ever had. Usually it's hard.
Yeah, if you
But-
can see somebody's style and you can see their body type, it's a little easier to tell them what to do.
No, I mean, that's how we train people at the dungeon. We just tell them to arm wrestle. We watch how they arm wrestle 1st. You know,
Yeah, you told me when I first showed up, your arm wrestle good, but you're weak as shit.
but you're kind of chubby too, weren't you?
Yeah,
You're a little chubby and weak.
yeah.
You had a good wrist though. You always had
I always
a good
had a
wrist.
good hand.
And what's that from? Soft
You know
hands,
it's
good
from.
wrists.
Oh no.
And you are single.
Yeah, ready to mingle.
Single, soft hands. I make cream that softens your hands up. I know that. You know.
I'm not even a machinist anymore.
Yeah, not a machine.
Now
You
it's
got a
even-
machine for it?
Now it's even worse.
Oh, now you're gonna end up with a big ass and a soft hands and. Well, you sit in that chair. You know how them big secretaries get their big fat behind. You know.
You call me a secretary?
I didn't say sec. You know, we're on the computer.
That's true.
Go ahead, Josh.
I'm in good
We got
shape.
next.
All right, well, yeah, we got. All right, Jamie has another question. He says, if you could pick a team of Americans to go face the best Europeans, who would they be? Like from the various weight classes.
I would take Chafee. I would take John. I would take Kenny Smith from Maryland.
Okay, yeah.
Nobody knows Kenny. Kenny's
He came
a
up last week.
Kenny's a friggin' animal.
Yeah, they should.
Oh,
they
I
should-
love him.
Everybody should know him.
Oh God, they'll know him if they arm wrestle him.
Yeah.
Lightweight, Corey Miller. Ron Klemba, because he can surprise a lot of people. You know, they look at him because he's a little older. If he doesn't show his arms, he's got some pretty solid arms. Ron's always a spoiler. He's always, you know, he hates when he loses, so he's always better after he loses one.
That's true.
John Brown's a good one. John, as long as he doesn't get somebody in his head.
I'm over that shit now.
I hope so. For long years, I watched you lose to people you shouldn't have lost to.
Very true.
You know, there's so many good athletes over here. It's sad we don't get the exposure that they get overseas. I've never even been in my local paper.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad.
It's a good point, actually. It brings up something that we've talked about a few times, which is that like the WAL and the PAL are clearly aimed at the elite arm wrestlers in this country, which is great, but it doesn't necessarily do much to develop like the amateurs and getting new people into the sport because, you know, when people see you guys, you know, most of the time, and especially at the WAL monster events when everybody comes up and arm wrestles like Chafee or Cataret, and it's like trying to arm wrestle a truck. I mean, it's not necessarily the best way to encourage new people into the sport. So I don't know if you have thoughts about is there a better way to encourage like large numbers of amateurs to join up?
Well, we have the arm fights are including the amateurs. They're including the women. In this
That's
fight
true, that's
coming up, it's fight coming up in July. We got John Milne pulling Peter Mills. There's
Yep.
two names John Milnes, his name's been out there, but he's been out for a while. You got Krebs Sobier pulling. I mean, he's not, I don't know how he's ranked, but he's not he's not a top 10 puller in the world, but he's
Yep.
pulling with us. There's a couple others that are pulling, just not coming to mind right now. There's one other one I can't say right yet.
Yeah,
There's a special person.
really special.
Well, that's what mommy told him. I was hoping before they did the arm fight. The arm fight is a great idea. I mean, I was hoping it's kind of been thrown together really quickly. You know, they've been pushing it. We just did that thing at Foxwoods. We had like 30 guys, but it was thrown together quickly.
Yeah.
I think now we got some state directors that throw these like Morocco. He has his tournament. And it's always a great tournament, always a good turnout. And he's a PAL director. I heard that our friend from Maine was going to be a state director. I heard. I'm not sure yet. I haven't heard the details on that. But I hooked him up with Peter Mills. So I mean, they got a show coming up at Disney.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
How's this? You get to go arm wrestling Disney. $99 a night for your room at Disney in one of Disney hotels. So you get to arm wrestle, go on the rides at Disney, and stay at a Disney hotel for $99. What the hell, bad? I live close. I almost wish I was going to that one.
That is good.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the ones I think that are going to pull people in.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would rather see. I've told them I would rather see them take guys like you, and we take Josh Grant. We'll find somebody that's equal with Josh somewhere in the country, somewhere in the world, and put two guys that aren't top 10 ranked,
Yeah.
but are good pullers. I'm not talking about guys that can't pull. I'm talking about good pullers, but don't have this big name yet, and put them in the shows. So you have you have 4 elite pullers pull 2 big matches, and then you have 8 or 9, Josh Grant and somebody else, or John and somebody
undercards.
close to his caliber. But it's got to be close in caliber. It's got to be good fights.
Yeah, you want a good
Yeah.
you want a good show.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know who around here is. Who do you have your toughest fight with, Josh?
Well, the people that let's see, there's a number of guys that I have like my sights on. George Sheldrick, Brandon Elliser.
Oh God, you and George Sheldrick could be a great fight.
That would be good.
for example,
yeah.
I mean, but you're both pretty much. I mean, you're both pretty equal in height. You're both pretty equal in hands and arm size. You're both, similar styles. But you put that on film. What the normal person in this country watch CBS Sports? They don't know who the hell I am.
Right.
So what's the difference if you fight some great fight or if I do?
Right.
But
And
it puts
really,
you on the board.
and really,
That's
if,
actually a great point, because if everybody knew that if they showed that they were a good competitor and they were putting on good matches, that they would have a chance of getting on one of those shows, that is a really good motivator. I love that idea.
Well, that actually, you don't have to be a top 10 elite puller. If you catch Igor's eye, you're going to pull for him. If you go out there and do something, do some spectacular match that he sees online, and let me tell you, he's always online watching. He watches all the shows. If you catch his eye, you've got a chance of pulling. He asks our advice on stuff, but
Yeah.
that's the way he makes his match. I wish he put the women in. I really wish he put the women fighters in. There's from Canada. There's a great great girl that Mike Gould is training right now. She's going to Worlds, and she's like phenomenal. I was just talking to her this afternoon. I would like to see her. She could take. Oh God, I can't think of the girl's name. I talk to her all the time. She's from overseas. She's blonde. She's heavyweight. But those two would make a great show. I'm not talking to bikini-clad girls. You can have that crap. I don't want to see two little honeys that can't do shit but look good. Get up there and arm wrestle.
sure.
Right.
that's
I'd rather see two. It doesn't matter what weight they are. Just get up. I like good arm wrestling. I think I was one of the only guys in Zloty last year that got up early because they did the women first and went and watched the whole women's competition, right and left-handed.
Yep.
So I sat there for 3.5 hours longer than I had to, just to watch the women fight.
Well, I think nobody can say that you don't love the sport, Tim. I think people who
God.
know you have been around you. You're always there. I mean, you've done a lot of tournaments where you just ref the whole day without a break and not even competed just because you wanted to make sure the tournament was great. I mean, you did that at Connecticut States. I thought I loved when you're around because I feel like it legitimizes stuff, and it's just cool being around people that are as serious and love the sport as much as you do. And there should be more people like you, but there aren't. So when you're around, it makes a big difference to us.
Well, I thank you for that. I mean, I just like seeing fair, honest refereeing. I just my two. If I could pick two referees, it'd be Leonard Harkless and Rick Pickney.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God! Besides Rick's little accent,
We can't all be perfect.
Leonard, my God, Leonard. When Leonard's up there, I have no doubt that I'm going to get a fair ref job.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rick Pickney, and that's all. I mean, that's the way it should be. You should have to walk up to that table and worry about your competition, and not what the referee's going to screw you or not.
Totally agree.
If
We
you
had
want that,
Leonard
you go
on.
to New York.
Oh, those were such fun tournaments, though.
God, they're so fun.
You just had to know. If you knew going in that it was just going to be close your hand and wherever it is on the table, you're going to have to go.
Yeah.
As long as you know that, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, but the guys that don't know that, they come out of there so pissed off. It's
too bad.
And you try to tell them ahead of time, do not expect good refereeing.
Yeah.
But that's how you get better, though. If you can win with a bad referee, then what could happen when you get a good referee?
Well, I mean, we used to go down there and just have fun. Two or three times a year usually.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
every time me and Ron would enter our class and the 98s, and we'd be in 4 classes, and we'd pull first round for every round,
Everyone. Yeah, everyone.
and then we get in first and second every time.
Well, actually, I'm reigning King of Arms for the last 2 years now, and I thought I had to go to I went to a game dinner with a really good friend of mine, Steve, and it was scheduled for the same day as the Big Apple Grapple, but they canceled it. So I still might be able to go down there and
We can't.
be 3 years, get walk around in my stupid crown with my little cape on.
Isn't Ron the King of Arms now? Right-handed?
No,
No?
that was not the King of Arms.
Oh, okay.
No. You've never seen Ron in that crown.
That's true.
I got the crown sitting on top of my TV in the bedroom.
I gotcha.
I have the crowns for the last 2 years.
I gotcha.
We got some international questions coming in here, Tim. One
English?
of them is they are in English for the most part. One of them is how much rest do you get before a vendetta? Like when do you stop training, or do you stop completely, or do you keep doing light work, or what?
7 days, absolutely nothing, except for my farm work. I don't lift weights. I basically walk around my right hand in my pocket. I do everything left-handed for 7 days. I touch nothing. But matter of fact, by the time I hit the tournament, I feel very soft and my head I feel weak until my first pull. Very sore. You get that big pump because you're busting your stones, and then that week off, it all softens back up to that first hit. And then that first hit, boom, you're big and all popped up again.
Yeah. Fresh, no pain.
Oh, beautiful.
Here's another one.
You take 2 weeks off from the table, though, right? Typically.
No, it ends up being 2 weeks. Yeah, it's 2 weeks. I pull on Saturday, and I won't pull the week before. Me and Clement made that mistake before Arnold's one time.
Yeah.
Well, you pulled like a Tuesday before.
We pull a tournament the Sunday before
yeah.
in New York.
You've answered a couple of these questions already, but this guy wants to know, Austin wants to know, do you have a specific exercise you recommend for back pressure?
For back pressure, I use a D-ring on a cable machine. Standing up, I lean back and I kind of pull down and towards me, backward. But the best thing for back pressure is arm wrestling. I mean, it's kind of hard to mimic. I have a Mazurenko machine sitting in my basement, which is really good for back pressure. But arm wrestling is the best thing for arm wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have to choose one or the other, definitely arm wrestle.
Yeah, you can't recreate having another hand, attached to you. You just can't.
No,
that's for sure.
Oh, it doesn't. They're not as good as the Mazurenko machine is. It still doesn't mimic the movements of a hand.
Well, yeah, because that hand on the other side of the table from you is thinking too.
Oh, definitely.
You gotta. That's in my opinion, and it kind of goes back to training to a disadvantage conversation we had before.
Yeah.
When another person is thinking across the table from you, that's when the real work gets done. Is when you can counter and fight all the little movements that are going on, and a lot of times they're very little. Even like if we're grinding in a hook, when we used to do that for a minute at a time, there was so much movement inside that match that people probably wouldn't have seen.
Oh yeah, you don't see a lot of the movement.
Right.
You don't physically. Somebody on the outside doesn't know.
Right.
You know because it's being done to your hand.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Especially with you, John. You're a very, very good trainer. You transition almost as well as Devin Lorette, who is the master at transition.
I agree with that.
Ooh, that's a big compliment. I love it.
Oh my God! I'll tell you, I tell everybody. I mean, Devin's agreed with me on this one. He's not the strongest man.
Right.
He is the most versatile arm wrestler you'll ever pull. He can change directions in a flash, and it's terrible to try to pull a guy like that because you never know where he's going to go. And that's how he wins. I mean, you watch him 99% of the time, he loses the first match.
Right.
That's to figure out who you are and where you are,
Yeah, that's why it's super matches for that guy.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't understand. He was with us in PAL. He went with the WL because he is the superstar with those guys.
It's a good weight class for him too. That 225 class.
Yeah,
that's a great class for him. As strong as he is and as big as he is to make 225.
Well,
it's a dangerous man.
I hate to pee in somebody's cornflakes, but I just heard this past weekend that Devin's right arm is back to 100%.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm glad he's not pulling my my league anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was a matter of time after that surgery. You know, that surgery that he had, as far as, you know, joint stability goes, I knew
Yeah.
it was going to be a long time.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he got 2 surgeries, matter of fact.
Right.
They pulled a big golf ball out of one, and then they had to stop for some reason because they were going to have to cut. Hold on, guys, I got to put my. They
Oh, we're going mobile.
yeah, I got to
Going
put.
mobile.
I'm gonna lose power in a minute if I don't put this in.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah, plug it in. We can't have that. I got
She
more
set me up,
questions.
you know? She knows I'm handicapped.
Handy capable, I say.
Handicap.
Well, yeah. Handicapped with the computer. Did I get it in? Yeah, it's in. Let me change directions here. Don't reach.
You're doing great, Tim.
Yeah. I guess this is what I heard was that they pulled a golf ball out of his elbow, and then they were going to have to cut on the other side to get the rest of the 800 bone chips he had. So they did a different second surgery. And like I said, I
got
heard this
a,
past. Good.
No, you finish.
I heard this past weekend that he is 100% right-handed, stronger than
awesome.
his left right now.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh, me either.
Can't wait to
Me
see
either.
that. We got a question from Romania from a gentleman who's called himself Iron Costi, who says he's a top 3 puller over there in the 100-kilogram division. He wants to know if you're coming to Zloty this year, and also says that he's really enjoying the conversation and your insights.
I think I'm going. I was thinking about not going, but the conversation with the girl from Canada, I told her, she was asking me about European pullers, and I said her best bet. She's going to Worlds this year, but her best bet for pulling the top European pullers is Zloty Cup. There are some unbelievable women pullers.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Lucia Detranova is oh
I've
my
heard
God,
that.
the girl is incredible. And I told her, I said I was thinking about not going, but I said if she goes, I said I'll go with her to make sure she's okay over there. You know, I mean I'm taken care of when I go over there, so it's not a big deal. It's not a strain on my pocket. So I'm probably going to go. I say I don't want to go, but I do. It's a good tournament. It's good. We have a good time over there, especially when Christian goes. We had Christian
throws
Dave
guys
Chafee.
around.
I don't think Dave Chafee will ever go anywhere with us again. He definitely saw a new light with staying with us.
What did you do to that poor guy?
Oh God! Well, first of all, they got there a day early, so they put Christian and Dave in the same room. Christian has a problem when he sleeps. He kills people in his sleep. I mean, loudly.
Yeah.
He was screaming at me. I don't know if I should. I mean, I was sleeping one night and I hear, "I told you not to effing do that." And I'm like, I wake up, I'm like, huh? He's like, "I told you not to effing do that." And he's screaming. I look over, he's dead asleep. I'm like, I didn't do nothing. And I was like, oh, shit, he's still sleeping. Well, so they put Dave Chafee and him in a room together the first night, and I get there. They give me my key. I go up to my room, and it's the same room that Dave Chafee's in with Christian. Do you know Dave didn't say, "Hey, I'm already here. Why don't you take the new room?" Dave couldn't get his bag packed fast enough to get out of that room so he didn't have to sleep with Christian again. No, normally, I'm already here. Why don't you take the other room? No. Dave couldn't get his shit in that bag fast enough to go get his new room. I'm serious. It was sleeping with Christian in the same room is an experience. He screams. He kills people in his sleep. I don't know. His wife is deaf. And that's probably the only way they can sleep together because I talked to her and she's like, she just got the implant, so now she can hear.
Yeah.
So she tells me she unplugs it at night. I said, "You're gonna have to because it scares me when I sleep." But
It was so fun to hang out with you and Christian and James in Vegas that last time. I hadn't seen those guys in so long.
That let me tell you what, that was like old times. That was great. That was like when we first started, when it was fun to be in the sport with good guys, good people.
Mm-hmm.
How long we must have been in that bar lounge for 6 hours.
A long time.
Yeah.
Everybody had early 5 a.m. flights and nobody cared.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Who cares?
That's the community,
That was
man.
beautiful.
We love it.
No.
You can't get enough of it.
Yep.
Well, it's crazy. We had Christian, James, you, me, Barry, the announcer. Who else was there?
Cisco, Nicole Cisco.
Cisco was there with us. She's a sweetheart.
Yep.
There's a couple others there.
Yeah, Michael Todd
Off and
joined
on.
us. And,
Yeah, off and on. Yeah, Michael showed up with his wife.
yep.
Oh, it was great. You know, we just tell story. Yeah, it's just storytelling time. You know, it's great. Christian
John-
lies when he tells stories. By the way,
Oh, come on.
Perish the thought. No arm wrestlers ever lie. We're all
No.
completely honest all the time. John Milne's checking in. He says he wants you to know that they love you up there, first of all. But how many years do you think you have left on that old arm of yours? And who are you gunning for right now?
I have as many years as the good Lord gives me. I have no idea. As long as listen, my body right now with the sickness is not working really well, but for some reason my right arm is still working extremely well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's how do you say you're disabled when you're a top 10 athlete in the world? You know, my right arm is working fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how many years. Whatever I'm allowed to have. And who am I gunning for right now? I'm gunning for the North American belt that Trubin has around his waist right now. I
Good
have
one.
begged for that match, but they obviously, for reasons, they want him and Pushkar to pull.
Yep.
You know, anything could happen, but I mean, they set me up with Sylvia, so I'm sure that you know, that won't switch. It could. I hope it doesn't, because I got to get ready. I prepare for each match. Now without John to ask advice, I'm kind of screwed now. You know, I don't
You
have
still
the-
ask.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it's always nice to say, John, what do you think? You know, what do I do? What do you think here?
Well, I already know what you're gonna. I already have a plan for you.
Oh, good. I hope it's the same as I'm thinking.
Probably.
I'm thinking. I got a pretty good idea so far.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll
Yeah,
talk.
it's all-
Definitely.
Don't give away the strategy.
Yeah.
Oh, they never. You know what? I pulled John Mills, one of them. I pulled John, Espy in Canada with a room full of Canadians, and not one of them could tell you how I pulled. They had no idea what I did, how I did it. To get to my spot is so slight and so fast. You don't. It's a very small move, and then I just power through it. I mean, it's not like this big, like Ron Klember, where it's this big wind-up slingshot all the way to the pad.
Yeah.
Mine's a very small move, and it's very non-noticeable.
Yeah, that's a misconception, in my opinion, about your style. Is that you don't hit sideways, but you do hit into position.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
There is a hit. You
Yep,
know what I mean?
there is a hit.
There is some force and some jolting going on there, but it's just not straight side.
Nope. Just it's just hand position. It's hand control, hand position. That's my thing about arm wrestling. I think the most important thing, if I stop my opponent from doing what he wants, then he's going to do what I want. Know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I've felt it a few times.
A couple times. Just a couple.
I'm going to put out a little last call for questions for you, because I think we've answered all of them so far. Well, there's one about John Brzenk, but you're not John Brzenk, so I don't know how you can answer that. But well, do you think I will say this though. Do you think he's going to stick with WAL or move over to PAL?
No, he's going to stay with WAL. I tried to get him to come back to PAL, and
Yeah.
he's pretty happy where he is. So we leave it at that.
It's, with what you said about Devin being the exception, he's been so dominant righty. It's like a guaranteed 10 grand for him. So we'll see if that's.
But
We'll see now what happens if Devin's at full strength. We'll see if he can keep that title.
that's a huge.
Yeah.
I wish that dog would shut up. Why'd you bring him in?
Well, a cat just jumped on my lap up here. The animals are taking over this
I got
place.
3 little mutts over there being idiots.
Well, here's a question for you, Tim. What do you think about Ron Bath right now?
Oh boy.
Impressive. You haven't seen Ron Bath in how long, and then he comes back and smokes Matt Mask. I mean, Matt. They were trying to set up Matt. I'm going to Erie in August, as long as everything goes right in July. I made that clear to Dave that if they had moved something or if I get hurt, that I'm not going to be able to pull it. I don't want to screw him up. I said, so it was his decision.
Yep.
He said he was willing to take the risk. And me and Matt Mask were talking online, and we said we wanted to pull each other. So he was trying to get me and Matt Mask to pull, but something came up, Matt couldn't pull. Then we were trying to get Nick Zena. Me and Nick have, the last time I pulled Nick, for me it was a great pull.
Yep.
For some reason Nick couldn't do it. So we're down to Marcio. He asked me if I want to pull Jerry. I'm like, with Jerry's style, my elbow hurts for weeks after I pull Jerry.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I don't want to pull Jerry right now. I got too much stuff going on to recover from, So Marcio Barboza right now, as far as I know.
Wow. Yeah. Last I knew, I think I talked to Max a few weeks ago. The last I knew, it was going to be, it was supposed to be Zena.
That was Now it's confirmed it's going to be Marcio, unless they
Something changes.
change the date, which we know PAL does quite a bit.
Yeah.
But Max got to pull. Who's he pulling?
Craig.
Is he pulling? Oh, Craig Sauvier. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean that'd be a good pull right there. Craig's an animal.
Yeah.
And I just think I would hope that PAL starts doing the not top 10 pullers. They find like I said, like guy Josh, like John, like John Milne, that are great pullers, and give them the chance to get in there and get on TV. If you have 10 matches without superstars and 5 of them are good matches, you can show them on TV.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Well, I mean, Neil Pickup proved that.
Yeah.
Arm Wars was phenomenal.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, and he's still doing it.
He's still doing it with his young guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't have. He gets out of it. How much it costs just to get the European pullers over here? You could probably close to a $2,000 bill just to get them here.
Yeah.
He could pay that if he offered you $1,000 to pull a match. Josh, would you pull it? All expenses
Absolutely.
paid.
Yeah, of course I would.
Of course you would.
I'll do it
I
tomorrow.
pulled $1,000. I just
Sign me
did.
up.
I pulled $1,000. Well, excuse me. They gave me Canadian money, so I pulled for $750.
All right, we got two last questions. One of them is from Ryan Bowen in Australia. He just wants to know, when are you coming out there?
Whenever they can arrange a flight for me, I
I'm
told
going
them
to
that.
tell him that. I'm going to tell
poor
him.
man.
I think he just did. I think he just told him.
I'm a
just
poor
told
man.
him.
I will come out to Australia anytime he wants.
Okay,
That goes
there
with
you
any of
go.
the other teams out there. If you want me to come, get me a flight and I'll come for a week. I don't do it. Listen, I'm basically retired, so
Yeah.
I do whatever I want when I want.
Awesome.
I've talked to the people from the Thailand team talked to me about coming out. The Vietnamese team, I didn't know they had one.
I didn't know that either.
They talked to me. The Korean team, I mean, I'll go. If you guys want me there, get me a flight. I'll come and stay with you guys for a week. Feed me. You don't have to pay me. I don't need any extra money. Just get me there, feed me for the week, put me up in a hotel.
It's very fair.
I'm going to fly you out here.
So there you go, Ryan. There's your answer. And anybody else, wherever you are, that's how you get Tim. Give him some good food and a plane ticket, and he's yours.
That's it.
That is true.
All right, last question here, again from our friend in Romania. He says he's primarily an explosive puller, but he seems to lose some of that speed when he faces an opponent with good hand control. Is there anything he can do to raise his chances in that situation?
Nothing you can do with good hand control. If I control your hands, you do what I want you to do. You have to. The only thing you can do is get out of that guy's hand, because that's exactly how I play my game. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care what you do. I control you. If I keep your hand right where I want it in the middle of the table, what are you going to do? You can hit. You can do whatever you want. You need to get out of my hand. You need to get me to break. You need to break my fingers.
Okay.
So, but if I have hand control, there's nothing you're going to do.
What are we about to say, John? Looked like you had something you were going to say on that topic.
Oh, no, I agree. I would say, if you're a guy who just has, I think it goes both ways. If you're a guy who's just explosive, or you're a guy who's not explosive at all, then you really need to put a lot of time into doing the exact opposite of that. So if you're not that explosive and you're having a really hard time with people who are just strong, because that's what it sounds like to me. This strong guy with good hand control is stopping his hit, and he has nothing. He can't do anything. I would really start practicing on being able to really gruel it out. And it might be really uncomfortable for a little while in practice doing that, but I think after a year of that, then if you'll keep your speed. That's not going to go anywhere. If you whack into somebody and they stop you, now you can fight. because there's a lot of guys who get stopped and they can't fight, and that's when you see the number 1 guy lose to number 6 sometimes, because number 6 guy can stop it, and he's confident enough to stop it. Usually it's a fear of the other person on the other side of the table goes, this is going to hurt so bad. They, like with Klumba, I see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
Guys on the other side are just like, this hit is going to be so bad. And before they can even, they're so shaken up by the thought of that, they get pinned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at the number 1 guy just almost got beat by a guy that wasn't ranked in Zloty.
Yep.
Trubin stopped him, and
Good point.
Pushkar doesn't have the endurance. Pushkar is stronger than he is,
Right.
but he doesn't have that endurance. He doesn't. The match kept coming every time they restarted further and further to the center of the table.
Yeah. What do you
You
think?
know?
How do you think that's going to go over 6 with Trubin and him?
Oof.
I think it's going to be good.
I wouldn't call that one. If Pushkar can stay out of the straps, it's going to go more Pushkar's way. If Trubin can get him in the straps, and I think Trubin, you were there with Trubin and Michael Todd.
Yeah.
Every time Trubin walked back to his chair, he had that "I'm all done" look on his face.
Yeah.
Arms just hanging off him. They're rubbing and rubbing. I said,
looked-
"Oh, he's done."
he looked
Then
miserable.
He'd get back up and do it again.
Yeah,
It was like, "Oh my God!"
It was
He
so
walked back
surprising.
over. Oh, he's done again. Oh no, he isn't.
Yeah, I've never seen a guy sit down after polling and look so miserable. Mm-hmm. Like, just please call it. Just call it.
Yep.
And then they ding that thing, and he get back up, and he was fine.
Yeah,
It was crazy. It
Yep,
was crazy to
definitely-
watch.
He's got some crazy endurance,
Yeah, he
and
does.
Pushkar didn't have that endurance.
Right.
And for nothing, I was going to say this. I saw this online because I haven't been able to check my messages up in Canada, my Facebook, because obviously as soon as you cross the border, it's $800 a minute to get on your Facebook. So I just let it go to like a home. Somebody said about Pushkar getting beat by Trubin, and somebody said something about Pushkar hiding from Trubin. That's not true.
Never lost.
That's
right?
not true. He's not hiding. Pushkar is not hiding from anybody. He's never has.
No.
You can't. The guy got hurt. The guy was hurt. The guy was hurt in Zloty. He talked about it before he went to Zloty. I talked to him beforehand at the hotel. He was definitely hurt. He's not. He doesn't hide from
He's
anybody.
never hit, and he's been polling since he was a teenager. He's not scared of anybody.
He's not. He knew he was hurt when he went to Zloty. He just thought he muddled through him I think Trubin did it. I think Trubin did that injury you know what I mean? Did more
Right.
damage to that injury.
Turned a
So
tweak
he-
into an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tweaked it out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened with me and Devin. Devin had a slight injury, and then me and him went that grueling 7 rounds, and it did the small injury in, you know?
Yeah.
So he's not hiding from anybody. He's not.
Yeah,
he-
I agree.
It's the same thing with this. I got they go online picking on a guy again. We talking. It was a really good conversation about some fights, and then the guy's got to go to steroids. This guy, all the top guys are on steroids. I'm like, guy, you can't accuse people. You're taking people's thunder. These people work all their lives to get these big wins.
Sure.
And you're going to take their thunder by saying they cheat with steroids. Unless you get caught. There's a couple guys that have been caught, tested positive. Well, yes, they're on steroids. But to accuse a guy that you have no clue that's on, that you have they got to stop that. To stop taking the guy's thunder.
She wants to say bye.
It's
Hi, Deb.
Yes.
That was
has
my
been-
daughter-in-law and her friend.
This has been great.
I get tired of it. I mean, I know that steroids are a big thing to people, but it gets tired of. You can't take people's thunder.
I can't use that as an excuse every time you lose.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what some people do, without a doubt.
Well, you'll never go overseas and win with those guys if you're worried about steroids.
Right.
I'm sorry, you just won't.
Just a waste. Yeah. After a certain point, it's certainly a waste of energy to put all your
Yeah.
thought into that.
Put your thought into training, getting stronger. If you can't, like we said, if you can't win one way, you'd have to figure out a way to win another way.
Yeah.
So even if this guy's so bad that he's got to take steroids to win, well, there's a way around that. There's always a way around it.
Yeah.
He's going to have a weak point. He's going to have a weak point that's not helping. So find that weak point.
Right.
That's just the way I do it. I find the weak point. And I get better. I get better at that weak point.
All right, Tim. Well, I
Well-
think we hit all the topics. You got one more, Josh, or?
Nope, that was it. I told them no more questions because they kept flooding us with them. That was great.
They like
That
you,
was
Tim.
great.
They love you,
Thank
Tim.
you.
They love
See,
you.
I'm not that mean of a guy. I'm a good guy.
Oh,
he's a
you're
great guy.
awesome, Tim. I always tell people.
No political talk.
Exactly.
I think I was asked that before. No talking
Yeah,
political.
yeah. I may have mentioned that.
Did you really? Because Tim tells me, he goes, "What are we going to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just whatever. We're going to shoot the shit."
Yeah. Oh, this is how
No,
we
no,
roll.
Josh had already told me no political.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time.
Go Bernie.
All right,
All
man.
right. This was awesome, Tim. Thanks a lot, man. This has been totally fun.
I will talk to you again, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.